started here. So, all right. Hello, everybody. Greetings. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. It is, of course, November 8th. We reached our second week in November. Getting towards seasons changing and kind of things like that. Things are getting colder. For those of us in America, Thanksgiving's coming up. Our Thanksgiving. A couple more weeks for that. Just a lot of busy things going on. So I hope everybody's had a great week. We were chatting about some of our, stuff here in the background a little bit before we got started. But, hey, I think it ended up for me at least a very decent week. How do you kind of say for the two of you? It was a little busy for me. Decent.
It's been a weird week for me because my days off at work have changed because I switched to having every other weekend off, which I think will maybe be nice for me to actually get outside and do stuff.
Yeah, I get that.
So I've spent my week rewatching all of the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies, and boy, I'll tell you, there's only one good movie.
But the other movies are still fun.
Yes.
I would say Lost World and 3 are fun. Jurassic World I enjoy despite it being bad, and then Lost Kingdom is the funniest movie I've ever seen.
It's one of those. Do they have 4 in the new series now?
Because there's Dominion, which I've heard nothing good about, and there's Rebirth, which I've also heard nothing good about.
I haven't seen either of those. The last one, it was the thing that was it Lost Kingdom or whatever.
Lost Kingdom was the second Jurassic World movie, which really pushed the emphasis that Jeff Goldblum was in that movie. He was in it for 5 minutes.
It was a movie that I was like, if I watched it at home on a premium channel or on a sci-fi channel, I think I would have been fine with it. But I went to the movie theater because I still liked the first one enough to go to the movie theater. That's why I haven't seen the next two, because I haven't really watched a lot of TV since then, and I don't watch a lot of movies. It's kind of hard to when you don't. And they lost me on this series, and I like dinosaurs.
We gotta stop, and we gotta stop letting them have a monopoly on dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Someone else make a dinosaur movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. Someone else really should.
Someone make a, please, I'm begging you. Give me a good dinosaur movie.
Yeah. My week though was my coworker went on vacation again, and I had to deal with a bunch of problems because obviously, she's technically working remotely, but I tell you right now that means nothing. It still means I have to do a ton more. Yep. I don't mind the idea of working remotely. It's just hard when it's clear she's doing other things because she's from Guatemala, and so she goes to Guatemala to do she's getting a tooth implant in Guatemala because it's cheaper there. But she's technically working while doing all of this.
It's really, she should be on vacation and she's not, or have a paid leave or something. Okay, I got it.
To be fair, when she scheduled it the first time, she had some issue and she had to go to the hospital and she couldn't actually do the procedure when she actually scheduled it the first time, so she went to Guatemala and just visited family. So now she had to go again because now she can actually get, anesthesia or knocked out or whatever she chose. Because she couldn't before. So
part of me does hate the fact that there's God, it's medical procedures better in other countries. God damn it. We're not getting into that. We have other issues related to a tabletop industry.
I didn't comment. I'm not commenting on that.
We'll be talking about other issues. We have others in our sphere, the tabletop sphere.
True.
All right. So, I don't know where to go with this one, but I just wanted to reflect upon it. To start out, I guess we'll get into our topics here. We got more Magic Secret Lairs. They're Avatar ones. I didn't even realize this until I heard someone talking about it. There's been a secret layer a day for the last month.
There has.
It's just So many.
I'm telling you, it's because they spent all this money on licensing and they need to make it back.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll put the link for these Avatar ones. They all look to be reprints with art on them, which is or renames of different cards. I mean, it's fine, but it's like one of these things I'm gonna say here. You're already putting out a like unique set. Couldn't you just do some of those cards in the secret layer too? You know?
No,
I don't know.
why would they?
I don't know.
They didn't bother doing
I
a
do-
commander deck set for this stuff, so why would they?
I do like how they made one for the cabbage guy.
They did do a secret layer all about the cabbage guy, which is just funny, you know. I'm just like looking if there's anything else that's like stands out for me. I'm not looking at like trying to look at some of these cards here, but like nothing does really stand out otherwise. I think it's fine. I think that's the way to say it. It's fine. But
Yeah, just a bunch of Avatar stuff. It's to be expected.
And a billion,
Unfortunately.
billion more secret layers.
I mean, I'm just gonna tell you the everything's changed. Set is immediately worth it because Blood Moon is a $60 card.
Okay. I can never remember Blood Moon so expensive because it is very good.
Blood Moon is
mono red.
so expensive.
Yeah.
It fluctuates a lot though in price.
Yeah.
But I think currently it's like, depending on the version, upwards of like $40.
Okay. That'll do it. Yeah. I'm not noticing anything else that screams.
Lightning Bolt's very
expensive.
cheap. Torment of Hellfire, I don't think is super expensive. Just double check that one real fast.
Forgot.
Yeah,
Goddamn.
actually, Torment of Hellfire is $30. That one's also pretty worth it.
Is Braid of Fire any good? Because it's one that I like, but I don't know if it ever got any price because it's cumulative upkeep. You get mana.
Braid of Fire.
Yeah. Because
Let's do a quick Google.
it's bringing back.
It's $19.
Oh, okay. I can see that because again, it's a cumulative upkeep, but rather than you having to pay mana, it gives you mana. So it's every turn you get more and more mana.
It's been reprinted a couple times.
Yeah. I think I got a couple years ago because I was like, this will be neat in like a red deck, and now it's more expensive than it was. Again, thanks, Commander. I think also Thespian Stage is pretty expensive too. Looking at that.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's not like we can't see that there's some good cards in here. So I can't tell you like you check your value, you can check the art. It's Avatar. I can't say much about that, but it's just so much. It's just
They're really going all in on this IP, and honestly, I don't blame them because it's the nostalgia factor. But I don't know if the pool is here for Avatar. I think it'll do well.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's gonna hit Final Fantasy numbers.
I think
it's going to do better than Spider-Man, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to do well because it feels more magic-y. So you're going to get the people that are like Magic players a lot more on board than they were for Spider-Man. You
don't like the fact that there's going to be 4 actually, but also like 5 sets where New York just exists in Magic?
No. No, I don't.
I guarantee you the Star Trek set will have a San Francisco card.
You're not wrong because that is Starfleet headquarters.
Yep.
And I think they're like, it'll be fine. We did Edge of Eternities, and anybody that's like looking,
Edge of Eternities isn't Earth.
Isn't Earth, and it's also not like Star Trek is still very much like. Would it be
Star Trek is fantastical, but it is very much a hard sci-fi setting where they do explain things in detail, even if those things are not real or possible.
Yeah. While Edge of Eternities it's still magic. I don't know. I think it's like if you're again, it's with every secret layer. It's a problem of monetarily it might be good, art-wise you might like it, but are you going to be able to goddamn get it? Because it's like, I don't know.
You're probably not. These are gonna sell it immediately, and you might get lucky to find it at a card shop.
It's becoming such.
'Cause I do really like the Blood Moon art for this. Blood Moon is a card I do sometimes play, but I like. It's just gonna also be as expensive as a normal Blood Moon at the end of the day, if not more expensive.
True.
Yeah, like when they originally put out like the secret layers and stuff, they were print to order, and I actually you talked about it, how it's like it actually used to like help the community because they would introduce cards that were kind of otherwise expensive, which help bring down the price and help spread the card around more. And because they were print on demand, if people really wanted it, they could get them. But now it's all like it's just helping out the scalpers at this point because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, here's another good card. Let me buy as 50 million of these with my scalping bot, and then I can now sell it for the same $60 that I've been getting.
Yeah,
and make money.
And then either keeps the price up, or these versions of them are just more expensive. It doesn't do anything to help with the secondary market, which that was one of the things that it was kind of like supposed to be good about this secondary market helping. Keeping prices down, getting cards into people, getting neat art and stuff to people. These are things that like.
Yep.
They still sometimes.
I mean,
do the neat
I've
art.
always heard.
I'll say that.
I've always heard a health of a game like this is based on the health of the secondary market, so you want to actually try and keep that alive.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about it, but again, like we've been talking about them, so I did want to at least be like, hey, they got the next one.
I think it'll end up being largely fine because, as we saw with Final Fantasy, the price immediately dropped as soon as the set actually came out.
Yeah.
For the set, but for the secret layers, it's going to be a different issue because it's not printed man. But the Avatar set will drop because it's going to be reprinted for literal years.
Yep. So at very least, that'll be good there. It should be at least at the price. I was going to say reasonable price.
It's
but
going to return to MSRP.
Yeah, which unfortunately is more expensive, but
unfortunately, it's still really expensive. At this point, Magic is one of the most expensive hobbies you can have.
Yeah, they saw Warhammer and said, "Hold my beer."
Warhammer's not even as expensive as some of this shit.
Yeah, that's not good. You don't want to compete with Warhammer. What's wrong with you? Anyway. So here's an interesting thing related to Wizards that's a little different, though, is we know they have now re-registered Dark Sun with the USPTO. So we don't know what this means, that they are actually going to do a thing with it, or because there was a lapse in the trademark last year, if this was just getting it back. But we do see they have done the Art of Arcana. They did the stuff with the Scion. These do scream they might, especially with this, that they might be doing Dark Sun.
I think it might. I don't know if they're, because I don't know how deep they're going to go into doing setting books for this edition. Because previously for 5e, they didn't really have setting books except for like maybe 2.
Yeah.
They had they had Eberron, they had
Eberron and Ravenloft are the only
Realms,
2 I remember.
and Ravenloft. They had a Forgotten Realms one as well.
Did they? So I think maybe it might be like a Ravenloft situation of, all right, here's a book of like 5 different settings.
Yeah, it could be like I could see it
not super detailed.
Yeah.
Here's some subclasses.
And then maybe one adventure book if they pull it more like Ravenloft did.
And if they do a full Dark Sun, it is not going to be the same.
No, that's the unfortunate thing is, again, I do not trust them to even go to the boiled down version that was 4th edition. Like 4th edition, they kind of still stepped back. They didn't get rid of it. They still kept the identity of Dark Sun, but they did kind of, it was sort of like not quite diving as deep, not talking about as deep about it. It's like, this horrible thing is happening. Okay, that's kind of that way. So it wasn't completely ignoring it, but still, that drawing back, that's a place if they draw back farther from, they're removing a lot of the identity from what made Dark Sun Dark Sun. It's a dark kind of post-apocalyptic fantasy world, where really horrible things happen. and there's major serious issues going on. You don't always have
And
to
those
have that.
kind of topics don't sell to the mass
Yeah.
market appeal.
Yeah, they don't sell to market appeal. And granted, you don't have to play with those, but you're playing with them around you no matter what. You know, that's the kind of the world you're in. Even if you're just adventurers going to some ruin somewhere, when you go back to the city, you don't have to worry about that crap. You know, it's on the back burner.
'Cause I think when Dark Sun comes up, it is something people forget that 5e is a system designed with every market in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that, well, can lead to some good products. Ultimately leads to, well, you're making a product for everyone, so you're really making a product for no one.
True. I think that's
I
where
mean,
like
it still has a scope. It's not. It is for everyone, but
I think.
or are
when,
you talking about in you know, making it friendly for everyone?
Like, with Dark Sun specifically, because there's so much truly, like, I don't want to say, like, it's a heinous, disgusting setting, because it's not really that bad, but it's, like, a couple steps darker than what D&D typically goes for, especially
Yes.
these days.
Mhm.
I don't think they could ever recapture that and still try to have broad appeal for it.
There's like horrific
Yeah.
overlords that abuse the masses, enslave the masses, and slaughter the masses at a drop of a hat, and these are the rulers of the region.
Something with 5e is Wizards has been very hesitant to be like, here's a setting and some stuff where you can be a super evil villain.
Mhm.
Like I think that is the thing too. And I think also when we see more villainous characters, they tend to have them very inhuman. And I think the thing about
Yes.
the Sorcerer Kings and Queens is, as much as they are attempting to be inhuman, they look very human and act very human. You know, and I think that's a big difference too. They might be trying to ascend to some other level, but they're not there. They're not the horrible monsters yet. They may never be, because of their own, you know, humanity and mistakes and shit like that, you know, and fighting amongst each other. While on the other hand, you know, you're not a just dragon or some kind of ancient lich, you know, or something like that, you know. There's not just
I thought some of the Sorcerer Kings were dragons.
Technically speaking, they're all trying to become a dragon, and only one of them actually has ascended. They're trying to become a type of like super powerful Dark Sun dragon.
Got it.
Yeah. And all the rest of them are trying and not working very well to it. Again, infighting, corruption, etc., all those kind of things. You know,
Yeah.
the fallacy of man and a lot of that.
Got it.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, the most I could find is the last time they published anything Dark Sun related was 2010.
Yeah, that would have been
in 4th edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And patents last about 20 years, so I don't know why they're doing something now.
It could be they are doing a small, like, we need to
Update to
renew
it.
this maybe for like a video game or something.
Because this was the trademark
Yeah.
got because I assume what
Sorry,
happened was
Trademark.
the trademark was
I just
probably
realized.
filed back towards 2000 when they got a hold of D&D. So I assume because since it lapsed in 2024, you know,
Yeah, so sorry. So for trademarks, sorry, I looked at patents. So trademarks are last 10 years.
okay, so that might make sense too. But you know,
But
when
that
they-
would be but it's been like 15, so.
I know there was a whole debacle because they had been dancing around for years the idea of like a psychic class, which is very Dark Sun. I remember there was an interview that said, well, they're waiting to do psychic stuff until they try to revisit Dark Sun. So maybe
Got
they
it.
are trying to revisit, or maybe they've abandoned that, like, we'll tie it to Dark Sun idea.
No,
Granted, this was
they haven't.
from Merle's, which is
They
grain of salt.
They haven't, because they literally released an Unearthed Arcana that had Sorcerer King was Warlock Patron and
a
you know, Sorcerer of
Defiler,
Corruption.
Druid,
Yeah.
I think it was, or Defiler, Sorcerer.
No, I think it was Deviler Sorcerer. It was Deviler Sorcerer.
And
that's what it
Preserver
was. And then, like,
Druid. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is,
And then we're
those names also could change when it comes out of UA.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, we just know that they currently have redone the trademark as of the 13th of October.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to cover downloadable electronic games, games and playthings, and entertainment services. Which
Maybe they're gonna remake the old.
Yeah.
Maybe they're gonna remake the old Dark Sun MMO that was
It's
a
possible.
thing for
Yeah,
a
it's
couple
possible.
years.
It's possible they also expanded the trademark because I know that also requires you to renew.
A lot of potential things.
It's unfortunate that we're just, until they actually make an announcement, we're not going to know for sure what's going on.
It's all speculation.
I mean, it's like 99% sure at this point that they're going to do.
It's
something with
definitely
Dark Sun
gonna
related.
get a nod in some book somewhere. Potentially a full, like, Ravenloft-sized little book.
Yeah. And again, it's sort of like, I can see them, if they handle things like they did in 4th edition, I think it'll be fine. But I worry that they're not going to handle it that way. Because 4th edition was a little bit more boiled down, as I said. You know, they kind of focused on a lot of the other stuff. You know, which is not good, but it's not the worst they could have been doing. So, we'll see. They at least have that now. So, let's continue on, though. We got 2 TTRPG related Munchkin things. I guess we'll start with the first one, which is from Paizo, because the good old classic of Munchkin Pathfinder is coming digital. So there's been a digital version
Neat.
of Munchkin that's been out, but they're putting their spin on it into the digital, and that looks kind of neat. You know, it looks like a little fun little like version of it. You know. I think it's fine. And the other thing is that coming, it looks like next year, which we might have hinted on this. I don't know if we did or not, if they had like a Kickstarter. I don't think we did. But apparently they're getting a Vox Machina Critical Role version of Munchkin. Also.
Does not surprise me.
Yeah. You know?
TV show is popular.
Mm-hmm.
Critical is also popular.
Yep. They've definitely gone in ebbs and flows, but I feel like they have this like level of popularity that never goes below. And I feel like, you know, with the TV show, they've kind of like popped up a little bit more, and a lot of like what's been going on. So they've managed to kind of like, they've got a new wave, and this is a good point in time probably to pop on it. So yeah. Again, at its core, I do like Munchkin. It's a fun game. It's just that they have so many different versions. So it's like, the digital one might breathe.
Like...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was supposed to say, it's like Monopoly. There may be a billion types. They all play the same.
Yeah, I think Munchkin's a little better, just a little better, because there's some variation, but it's just like...
There are some variations in some of the Monopolies from what I've seen.
I know, but it's like kind of like, is there enough variation? That's a question for...
That's true. Monopoly probably has even less variation.
Yeah, they don't try. They're just like, have another one. But, yep. These two are... the digital one should be coming relatively soon. On Steam.
Whose job it is to, like, make the different Monopolies. Like, it's got to be kind of a soul-crushing job.
I feel like it's just up to AI at this point.
Probably.
I feel like they fired that guy.
Yeah.
There was one guy.
I guess the good thing about, like, if you got the digital Munchkin and, like, the packs, it is so much easier to play and shuffle all that stuff together in real life.
Yes.
Yep. But, okay. So, Godzilla. We can talk about Godzilla. There's two things to talk about with the Godzilla. I was going to just talk about the one, but then it turns out, I guess we'll start with the stupider one, and then the one that's really neat. The stupider one is, it turns out by chance, with the other related Godzilla, USAopoly brought us Godzilla Clue. This was just it also was happening, apparently.
I mean, sure. It's Godzilla, I guess.
What? I don't know how this works.
Is it Monster? Oh, it's Monster Island.
I guess you're trying to figure out which monster is going to attack or something. Oh no,
Oh, he's holding his son hostage.
which monster? Which
Damn.
like
This is
alien
brutal.
is using which monster to hold?
Son of Godzilla.
The worst
Where?
character. Can I just like leave and let him die?
I know.
I hate this guy.
Wow. Yeah. This is like, if it wasn't just Clue, part of me thinks it's very funny and I do like it because this is very like 60s to 80s Godzilla, you know, the classics, which are that kind of like that good level of camp. You know, it's the kind of camp that you wanted, like when we talk about when people talk about sci-fi original movies, how they're kind of like campy and crazy. That's they're trying to recapture the levels of camp that, you know, the classic era of Godzilla, the suit did. You know, with great ones like you know, Godzilla vs. Megalon and stuff like that. I love that one. It's
Yeah,
silly.
they literally have they definitely have the suit Ghidorah and like the suit version of, you know, the monsters basically.
Oh, yeah. And there's Megalon in there. It's possibly the thing you're trying against. Man. Again, it's like, it's a weird concept, and I find it funny. But it is just Clue at the end of the day. Thanks, USAopoly. Anyway, the Godzilla's getting a TTRPG. That's the better news. Are you going to be playing the monster, or people trying to stop the monster? We don't know. They haven't said yet. Though, I will... This is probably the only thing I will try to find to learn about at PAX Unplugged, because apparently it's going to be there. I had no list of things to check out.
I thought there already was a Godzilla TTRPG.
Let me see. I don't think there was.
There's a card game now.
Yeah.
Apparently it's good.
That's
Oh,
good.
sorry, a TTRPG. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking card game. When you said when he said there's a card game, I'm like, sorry, my brain replaced TTRPG with CCG, and I have no idea why.
So it's done by IDW Games. It's going to be based more on the comics line, which I know a little about, but not a lot about. But basically, it's got all the Godzilla stuff there. But they might pull on some unusual stuff. Again, I hear decent things about IDW's comic lines. So that's the best thing I can say about it.
I know all three of these names attached
Okay.
because they're all, you guessed it, Games Workshop.
Okay then. Interesting. It is interesting that
I feel like I've heard the names, but I don't know.
Gav Thorpe is a very prolific author, and Jervis Johnson is a very prolific game designer for Games Workshop.
Yeah, I've heard of Jervis before.
Jervis did Blood Bowl.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
and
that's probably why I've heard the name.
Necromunda.
Okay.
And Gav Thorpe has written just a load of books.
So there is part of this that makes me kind of suspect, because they're basically pulling a is it Deadlands that uses a deck of cards? They're doing a deck of cards for this one rather than just normal decks. Which could work, but because it is more of an unusual system, that's why I'm kind of like I'm more curious how they're going to make the system work with that kind of thing, you know, that's kind of comes into my brain there. Because again, like I hear decent things about I'm right with Deadlands, right? The one that uses
I believe Deadlands is the card one.
That's the one that I know has the most success that uses playing cards. So again, it's not impossible, but like yes, when you're moving away from dice, it is definitely a unusual thing. So yeah. Yeah, apparently they haven't put a game like this out in 5 years, so we'll see also, like, you know, at least they have a group of people that sounds like they can put together something good, so thumbs up on that. I'm a big old Godzilla fan, so I'd be happy to, you know, look into it, try it out. I definitely will see if I can find something at that. So, apparently there's going to be a adventure for the Lord of the Rings / One Ring TTRPGs that's going to be based around Saruman. Halls of Soraban.
That's sure as a guy.
Sora's the guy. We're gonna get some White Wizard stuff. So yes. Okay, so the idea is like, okay, you're supposed to be. I guess it's like a different time period that like it's supposed to be like while he's in the midst of his fall, and maybe you can like intervene in it as a group of heroes. A nice kind of interesting what if scenario, I guess. I don't mind these kind of things when it comes to storylines. These can be fun to explore, and certainly in these little adventure books they can be. And you know, so hey, cool. Let's see here. Okay, and it does seem like they do have also options of like going on his side. Ooh,
Yeah.
Ooh. You can be the villains too. I like it. Neat.
Yeah, it said,
Server spot.
the adventurers invite players to serve, observe, or challenge Saruman at his heights of his wisdom and the edge of his corruption.
Yep. Treason hasn't begun, but the seeds are sown. Can he change his fate, or will his downfall be there? I think it's a cool concept. I think this is a good place for the RPG to explore, because it's sort of like, it's more known lore. People know about Saruman, so it's sort of like, oh,
they've seen the movies.
Yeah. It's like, it's better than some of like an adventure where like something's happening and I'm like, did you read all the material? People are like, no, I saw the movies. And they're like, well, crap, you don't know what's going on. You know? I think it's like, it's best when games like this are technically best when they kind of reference material or could like play around with it without going outside of it too much, where people just don't know anything.
I mean, here's the thing too. I think it's also good to have stuff like this because it does relate to something people know, meaning they can get into it better.
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing. There's also the whole, in my opinion, the whole point of a TTRPG in some cases is to do the what ifs. I mean, you can easily just be like, we're going to go adventure in this land, in this area that is not related to anything, or you can be like, oh, we're going to go and meet Frodo. You know, like there are two groups of people, but I feel like the other one is kind of the second one's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
For like new people and stuff.
Again, I continue to be glad they're supporting this. It's kind of like one of those things is, I do have it on my short list to check out the, either one of these RPGs. I don't really decide which one.
Yep.
But
it's on my list too.
Glad to see their support for more and more interesting stuff. So.
For that thing I eventually plan to do that I totally am not. I haven't started yet. That podcast. I'll do it eventually.
Again, it's just I'm in the same boat a lot of times. I say I have to do this eventually, but it's sort of like, honestly, finding time sometimes is not
I actually have, like, no, that's the thing. I've actually started a lot of the background processes to do it. The issue more is just, I don't want to start something unless I know I'm going to be able to follow through with it. That's going to be it.
Yeah.
So, and right now things aren't quite stable for me, so I don't want to start it right now.
Unfortunately, makes sense. So we got an interesting update out of GAMA Expo. So GAMA is the Tabletop Game Association, and they have an expo. The next one's in 2026, and apparently they already have all of their booths sold out, of which they had 350. So there's going to be 350 exhibits in March 1st of 2026. That's a lot of exhibits.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. This is up another, again, already sold out and already up another 550 since from 2024. So that's a big jump in it. And they have a waiting list in case someone has to cancel too. So, I mean, like, you know, yeah, it's going to be big. Apparently they're going to be moving to Baltimore in 2027. Oh my God, I can maybe this is the second tabletop convention I could actually go to, maybe. Baltimore's within distance of me.
Nice.
They're going to the Baltimore Convention Center. I like that place. I don't know if I'll go, but it's a possibility. You know, it's within driving
Hey,
range.
I mean, Baltimore is a better location than Kentucky.
Yeah, like, and it's the thing is, it's like, yes, you can say some of those other conventions are technically within driving range. This is like quarter of a day within driving range. You know, it's like 3 or 4 hours out. That's reasonable, like for some of these, you know.
It's so funny
Ten-hour
because like
drives.
my whole thought, like when there's like a convention in LA, and I'm just like, there's no way I'm gonna make it. That's like 4 hours of driving, you know. And it's all like
See,
I live like probably only a few miles from LA.
here's the nice thing about it. For you, it being in Baltimore is you could just take a train.
I could just take a train.
Oh man, imagine if they had trains in LA. That'd be nice.
I also know that from my experience going to the convention center, it is incredibly easy to drive into that area. There's like a highway that gets off right next to the convention center. And there's a lot of really nice hotels in that area that are within a few blocks away. And the time period's not too bad. Early March, that shouldn't be too cold. A little chilly. Probably wouldn't be too busy. Honestly, because most of the time I went there was on summer conventions, and that was busy but not too bad. So, you know, again, I'll put it as a maybe, but it's nice that it's kind of sold out there. You know, I do also have to one day have that excuse to head back to Baltimore anyway. They have a really nice aquarium there.
True, they do.
I know, I like the Baltimore aquarium. So cool, GAMA sold out. Coming, but that's 2027 anyway that they're coming to Baltimore, so a ways out. All right, here's a very interesting one that is Pinball meets TTRPGs meets Dungeon Crawl Classic. That's the easiest way to describe this entire mess here. So apparently Goodman Games, the people that put out Dungeon Crawl Classics, which is the, if I summarize it, it's kind of like AD&D slightly modified and updated for more modern age, but still keeping or like older than maybe AD&D first edition.
No, so it's kind of, well, Dungeon Crawl Classic is very much kind of like an updated AD&D 2e, revised.
Okay.
They update it even further.
Yeah.
I've looked into this one. I haven't read through the rules per se, but I do know about it, that it is basically like that.
Okay. Again, I read through the rules a little bit, but that was a number of years ago, and I have not looked directly into AD&D second edition's rule set for a lot longer than that. Like deep looked in the rule set. Anyway, so apparently licensed a bunch of classic pinball game brands from the 70s and 80s and want to do adventures inspired by the like appearances of the games, which is a neat concept because this is a, you know, inspired by classic RPG game, and there's doing these things here. It's a weird thing too. Apparently some of the machines we know is Gorger, Centaur, Sword of Fury, Embryon, and Cosmic Gunfight. I don't know pinball. I don't know pinball. But, you know, it both is weird and also kind of half feels appropriate because, again, you know, classics and classics meshing together. So they're going to be doing a crowdfunding in January of next year. Yeah. So weird, but kind of neat. I wouldn't have thought to resurrect old pinball, you know, licenses and like appearances and make TTRPG adventures. I really wouldn't have.
Yeah, but I should also clarify that Dungeon Crawl Classic has technically changed over the years.
I'm sure.
Because so Dungeon Crawl Classic doesn't do like editions, they do like new printings. So it's all like they do update it, but they don't call it a different thing, which is kind of nice.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like that's the thing I liked about Dungeon Crawl Classic, and I did think about actually diving into it at one point in time, because I do, a friend of mine has some of the books, so we did talk about
I have the book.
Yeah.
I have the core book. I have the core books.
I think he had the core book and a couple other books, and we did talk about it. We just never got a chance. It was unfortunately around the time we switched to online stuff more, and we just then stuck with, like, you know, Pathfinder then, because it was easier at the time. But yeah, neat idea. So I did want to talk about this because we have a little update when it comes to it, and I don't think we talked about it much at all. Riftbound, the I have to switch it over here. The League of Legends TCG apparently has been pretty successful. It's been driving a lot of traffic to places, some anticipation for the game. This is kind of an interesting thing. I mean, like, didn't
Talarian did a video, well, 2 videos on it.
yeah.
They did a shuffle up and play, and then a how to play video.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting that like it's gotten some quick and dirty popularity. I mean, it's fine, but like I was never a League of Legends person, you know. So
I
can see that.
unfortunately was a long time ago.
I only saw the first season of Arcane. I liked it. Just never got to the second one. That came out, right?
Second one is, in my opinion, a little bit worse.
Not
as good.
Well, you know, again, I might get to that at some point. Maybe.
I generally like the character design in League, so seeing those on cards is cool.
Yeah. From what I've seen, I think the character design was pretty neat too, so I can agree on that one.
So I know they're really trying to expand this universe outside of just being a game. They want it to be a multimedia property.
And from the few things I have heard, because I really haven't sat down in a major videos or something with the game, it does sound as, at least without being the game, they've captured some of the feelings of what you're doing in the game, which I guess is good, because it's its own thing. Though you could understand things like the actual MOBA, well, you know, or like, you know, you would at least have some recognition on certain things, even if they mechanically work different between the two of them. I guess it's a way to say. So cool.
I'm gonna check what champions they have. I assume they have like most of the characters in it.
Good question, because I mean, like, isn't there like a million different like champions?
I mean, there's a lot of characters, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at this list, they got quite a bit here. So they got the important ones at least.
They got the most popular ones, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, of course they have Misfortune, the pirate lady.
Yeah.
We got the Ari, the Kitsune lady. They've got just all the Annie, which is the kid with the bear, I think.
From the image here, they got Jinx, of course. You know.
Gotta have Jinx. Makes sense.
Yep. I don't know the name of it, but I have seen in some of the art the guy in the middle there of the art here, the samurai guy or something rather. I have no idea what he's.
He I think is the guy I played a lot when I played League.
But I don't know any of their names except for Jinx.
Yeah, Jinx. I mean, Jinx is like the easy one because she's the main character of the show.
Yeah.
So is Vi.
Yeah. So like it's like it's the main characters. I can remember their names. Cool. Great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I played League and had friends who played League. I
still have friends who play League.
I shouldn't say I played League. I never even got to the level where you can do competitive because I got so bored of it. But it was a fun game to an extent. I'm just not a big fan of MOBAs.
I played League for like 5 years, and then I was like, "This is no longer fun," and I stopped playing.
I think it's the thing is
also the community is very.
The community is so bad for League. Which I think is why they're trying to expand outside of MOBA games.
It makes sense. And I think what this article says, for someone like we had an interview here with someone, it really does hammer home what's going on now. And it seems like, as they said, there's a lot of people disenfranchised with things like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's grabbing people now. And I'm like, I can actually see that. I can see that with Magic. Hey, hi, hello, Spider-Man. I'm holding you up now as a thing that might be causing disenfranchising. Or like everything else that's been going on now. Standard isn't good.
So now, when I eventually get like a form of savings where I'm comfortable to spend this company, I am going to buy a box of Riftbound just to see what it's all about.
Yeah.
Because at the very least, it's very nice art to look at on cards.
Look, I'm honestly glad because I hadn't heard how well it was doing that. At least there was some a little bit of popularity in the Godzilla TCG. You know, it's like another one I'm like, I don't know if I really want to get into another TCG.
We get a lot of TCGs, but most of them don't stick around.
Yeah, that's the thing
So-
too.
Okay, so through a quick skim of Dungeon Crawl Classic Rulebook,
Ooh.
I'm just like skimming through it real fast.
Ah,
I would argue that it's somewhere between 2E and 3E.
okay, I think that's fine.
It's
You
like
know.
if you didn't go all the way to 3E.
Yeah.
And kept a lot of 2E.
No, I can see that there being a good balance between the two of those, and some kind of interesting thing there with a little bit of modern sensibility. You know.
Yep. Like, for example, they have reflex, will, and fort saves instead of the spell, poison, paralysis.
Yeah. So, I'm sad because this is neat. That's our next topic here.
Mhm.
Ninja Turtles. They have this thing here for Magic. And I'm sad because it's neat, because it's like a lunchbox with stuff in it that someone's doing with tokens and dice for the game.
I mean,
it's sort of like,
I'm sure that's like cool if you're a Ninja Turtles fan. Never watched Ninja Turtles in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of the original because, again, early 90s. This is definitely, it hits up a nostalgia for me to a degree. Because of, you know, this is the kind of stuff I remember for, like, you know, toys and stuff and like in lunch boxes. So it looks kind of like one of those lunch boxes. So I am in that nostalgia group, but I'm not also interested enough to buy it, because also I'm not a big fan of what it's connected to technically, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have loved something like this for even Avatar.
Yeah, I
I
definitely
feel
think.
like, you know, like
Mhm.
they could do more stuff like this.
More-
Who's doing this?
This apparently is
That's
Beetle,
Beetle
and
and
Grimm.
Grimm.
Yeah, Beetle and Grimm does a lot of stuff like this.
So maybe they will do something for
Are they
Avatar
official
too.
or not?
They are officially licensed products
Okay.
Yeah, because they do have the.
because they have a bunch of special like editions of D&D stuff.
And you
Got
can
it.
see the one magic symbol, the little like forky symbol in the top corner there.
Mhm.
They probably wouldn't have been able to put that on there if they didn't have at least some kind of license.
Because they did a bunch of special stuff like this for Tarkir as well.
Mm-hmm.
They did a Tarkir lunchbox.
And it's actually got some quality to it. They've got 7 aluminum tokens in here, a bunch of dice, you know. So this isn't like, and it's a metal tin. It's like, yeah, it's $45, but it's like, it's kind of like, Jesus.
It's $40, but it's a lot of metal stuff,
Yeah.
not plastic. So it is probably actually worth that amount of money.
Again, it just makes me sad that like it's related to Ninja Turtles magic.
Because
Like,
usually these kind of products are cheap plastic
Yeah.
or
ugh.
some form of garbage printing.
Yeah. I'm always happy when like actually good quality products are put out. You know? A good quality product. I'm happy. So, I mean, again, hits a little nostalgia. Kind of made me want to think about it and reflect on it. So, hey, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Momo, because we got Warhammer, and you brought me this article.
All right. There's a bunch of Warhammer stuff that got announced. It's a lot of models for the most part, but some other stuff. First thing up in the list is they are doing another campaign book series called 500 Worlds of Ultramar, where presumably the campaign is going to be about taking back the 500 Worlds of Ultramar, many of which have been lost over the millennia
Mm.
of constant war. But more importantly, in this, we're getting some characters who are getting one character at least who's getting a new mini, Captain Titus from Space Marine,
Oh, he's
getting a
mini.
new miniature. He had
cool.
one already, but
Okay.
that one was promotional, but he's getting a new one that will stay in print.
Okay, that's good. If it was promotional before and you're getting an actual miniature, that's cool. That, like, you know, you can play with,
yeah,
play
and
with
we're
the Space Marine
getting
guy.
one of the squad mates from Space Marine 2. We're getting the older Space Marine from the Secret Level episode,
Okay,
and then just some nicer looking psychers and stuff.
cool.
In this set, we're also getting a new Nemesaur, which is basically just a really cool Necron unit, and it looks really cool from the image in the article. I'm always a big fan of Necron. And then they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, we know that the Shard of the Nightbringer got leaked like months ago, but here's like the actual announcement for it.
Okay.
It's going to be 4 like campaign books, which is how they usually do these kind of books.
Okay.
And I'm personally looking forward to, and I did mention this in a Discord server, really looking forward to it being another Pyrrhic Imperium victory, which leads to no major change in the setting.
So you're saying that...
I'm saying nothing that happens in here will matter. Because nothing has mattered in 10 years for Warhammer. It's all been the status quo.
That's interesting that they, like... I guess it's both good and bad, because of status quo, they don't have to play out really major storylines. Like,
the problem is they do these major storylines, because they do have the books, but the problem is they can't have one side win, because 40k is ridden into a corner where if one side wins, the setting ends.
Interesting. Yeah.
You can't have Chaos win, or the Imperium is destroyed. You can't have the Imperium win, or Chaos is destroyed. You can't have the Tyranids win, or everything's destroyed. Orcs, same as the Tyranids. Tau are too small to win, and then they've forgotten that the Eldar exist.
That's interesting, because I could see them doing, like, directions, but I guess they just aren't, you know?
Because in lore, which is represented in, like, the books, the Imperium has been having a beatdown for the last 2 editions, and haven't really won anything. But on the flip side, you have things like, oh, this one guy with a normal army of dudes stopped a Hive fleet from advancing on Terra. So it's just a weird state, because the game sales are tied to narrative, and they don't want to be like, well, we can't have a faction like lose too hard, or we have to remove some models.
Well, like, here's the thing I could kind of say at very least. Couldn't they have, like, the Tyranids lose, but their threat's not gone because they're from outside the galaxy?
That's usually what happens, is the Hive fleet never is, like, fully destroyed. It's always pushed back or stalemated.
Okay.
It's the idea of every time the Imperium wins, it's a Pyrrhic victory. It just results in a new status quo. Which gets frustrating from a narrative sense, especially when we've been told that, hey, all of the Primarchs are going to come back, and we have 2 of them in 10 years.
Yeah, I think that's a very difficult thing to do, because it's sort of like weird.
But it's like, I get it, because they did a major shift with Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah.
And people hated it.
Wait,
yeah.
What with Warhammer Fantasy?
So when Warhammer Fantasy Battle ended and moved into Age of Sigmar, people were really mad. And Age of Sigmar did very poorly for a long time.
Interesting.
So I understand why they're hesitant to do it with 40k, which is a higher selling product than Fantasy ever was.
Yeah. What happened when they switched from 30k to 40k?
So 40k always existed first. It was always just Warhammer 40. It was actually Rogue Trader Warhammer 40k, and then it became 40k. And then around the mid 2000s, they did the Horus Heresy, which introduced the idea of 30k.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like, it's one of those time periods you could go back into, because a lot of, like, you know all the major factions survived, but it doesn't mean that they didn't go through shit to survive.
It's like, here's these Space Marines and the Chaos Legions that here's their backstories and why they became this way.
Yeah. Like, here's a story of how this one got the shit kicked out of it, and they, they managed to come back in 40k, but they went through
54 books of lore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. The models, I think, look really good, except the problem is with miniatures, faces always look kind of bad on a miniature.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I'm hoping there's a helmeted variant in the boxes, which it looks like for at least some of them there are.
Mm-hmm. They have to take off their helmets because reasons.
Well, it's the thing of they're the named characters, so they want to show that off, and the named characters have plot armor most of the time, until they don't.
Yeah.
But we're also, in addition to a bunch of Ultramarine stuff, we're just getting a bunch of like Xenos champions that are really cool. We're getting some Tau stuff, orcs. Okay. The Voton are represented here, I think. Another Tyranid model. Very cool. More Necromunda, because they're really trying to revive Necromunda at the moment, which is good because it's a very fun game, in my opinion. These Necromunda minis are very like Egyptian looking.
Interesting.
With all like the gold and various trim. We got stuff for Warhammer the Old World, more models for that, which is what Fantasy Warhammer Battle eventually did become because they brought it back, kind of. It's kind of like a Horus Heresy versus 40k situation.
Okay.
You have those two different games. Okay, we got Horus Heresy stuff. This is actually important and very exciting.
Okay.
I've said this before. There are 54 novels and an ungodly amount of short stories in the Horus Heresy, which makes it very hard to know where to start or what to read. There's an image online that is a massive flowchart that is very confusing.
Makes sense.
They are releasing a 12-book collection of the most important books for the Horus Heresy to read.
So it's kind of like if you want, it's sort of like here's the collection
If
that's
you
effectively
want-
the
yeah.
core cliff notes of
If
what
you
happens.
want the core story,
Yeah.
here's this. It gives you all the important events. If you want to go further and know, say you like the Ultramarines a lot, there's an Ultramarine book series for Horus Heresy. You can go read that.
Okay.
But this is a collection of the core books, which include Horus Rising, False Gods, Galaxy in Flames, The Flight of the Eisenstein, Fulgrim, The First Heretic, Prospero Burns, No Fear, Betrayer, Praetorian of Dorn, Master of Mankind, and Slaves to Darkness. Those are the 12 most important books for the Horus Heresy. And those are also the 12 best books for the Horus Heresy.
They have quite a name. All of them have quite names. It's like those are names.
The only one in this collection I would say is bad is Master of Mankind, but that's because I hate the Emperor because he's an idiot.
They didn't write him very good, did they?
He is not written very well. And the Master of Mankind is all about the Emperor.
It's a kind of weird, sad thing to say about it because the Emperor is like, well, you'd think with everything
He should
that
be
does...
cool, but
Yeah.
he's so... Because, like, there's so many authors that are writing him. He's very inconsistent.
Mm-hmm. I can see that as a problem. But
Yeah, so I'm sure that this collection will probably sell out very quickly, but since it's Horus Heresy, they might keep it in print a little bit more. And of course, you can always get the audiobooks forever. They always keep the ebooks and audiobooks up for cheap.
Cool. So there'll be some options.
Skimming through.
Want to get into it.
Oh, sorry. I'll let you go first.
I'm just saying
gonna...
options if you want to get into it then. Actually.
Yep. Also, I was looking to Dungeon Call Classic some more. Okay, it's actually more like a mix between 1E and 3.5 and 3E. Because they have...
I love it's absorbed you. I love how it's absorbed you. The power of Dungeon Call Classic.
This is why I want to start a thing, because I'm someone who can just read through rule books and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, because we sure as hell ain't done. There were a lot of announcements.
Okay.
We're getting more vehicles. Specifically, we're getting the Fell Blade tank, which is a 30k Baneblade, which is a very big tank.
Okay. So, like...
We're getting...
How big would the miniature be? Miniature.
It's really big.
Interesting.
And in that set, we're getting the tank. We're getting Saturday Night Terminators. We're getting Saturday Night Dreadnoughts. All of these things are very big models. And they cost a lot of points to usually take.
Mm-hmm.
which is good that they're doing more Horus Heresy stuff because it is quite a popular sub game.
That makes sense. I mean, like, it is the big storyline, so I can see people wanting to do, like, battle stories from that time period.
Yeah, exactly. And something cool, there is a Warhammer museum in Nottingham, which they take all these models and they build out the battles as they canonically happened as a diorama, which are really cool. I've seen pictures; they look awesome. I want to go in person one day and see them, but it requires going to the UK, which is expensive.
Yeah.
Next batch of minis, we're getting 30k Scutari, which are the foot soldiers for the Mechanicus.
Okay.
Most notably about these Scutari, they do not have the red cloaks of 40k, they have white cloaks, which is a very neat design choice, I think. And a little bit weird. I'm not sure why they have white cloaks, because Mechanicus has always used red cloaks since the Age of Strife.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure what's up with that. The models again look great, and they're also getting more Mechanicus vehicles. We're getting Terminators, bunch of Terminators for Horus Heresy. There are a bunch new TV shows being announced, like the little animated shows on Warhammer Plus, which are very hit or miss, unfortunately.
Okay.
There's a Sisters of Battle show, an Eldari show, and then a Chaos show.
Ooh, Chaos.
And then we're getting some Nurgle minis, and finally, just some the board game stuff for Warhammer Quest, which is the Warhammer board games for fantasy.
Okay.
So we're getting just another of that.
Interesting.
It was a lot of stuff.
There's another big.
They had a big event. It's the World Championship right now, so this is where they tend to announce stuff.
Gotcha. So there was a big event. Okay. I was wondering if there was a big event going on that might explain.
Yeah, it's the Warhammer Championship is happening currently.
Okay. So good time to throw out all the announcements in the universe.
Yeah, they kind of treat it like a convention, which is a little weird, but they used to have a convention called Games Day that they don't really do anymore.
Well, a lot of announcements. Got them all out. Thumbs up.
There's a lot of them. When Games Workshop announce stuff, they announce a lot.
Seems so. All right. Are we done the Warhammer announcements then?
That's, I believe, everything.
Cool. All right. Shall we get into our deeper discussion topic? So, I thought about a topic, and yes, I probably should have put it in the thing earlier. I forgot to, because again, like me coming up with a topic.
I forgot to ask you for it.
Yeah. This is something we kind of hinted on, but I thought about it because it kind of came up again in this week of a topic, and that is when to speed up or slow down your adventures in a TTRPG, and kind of recognizing that. And this, a long story short, I'm going to boil it down to it really goddamn depends. But you do have to be able to kind of recognize as a person running your game when things are dragging on, or when you're railroading your players a little too much and not giving them at least a little bit of freedom, basically shoving them along too quick, because those can be negatives to your game. That's not always necessarily easy to see. That's why, like, I think like it's good to talk about this, but it's also like a very open-ended topic in a lot of ways. Like, I think we can kind of like give hints, but it's really going to be like up to a person to recognize.
It kind of depends on your design philosophy and what you want out of the game. I'm going to be honest. There's a very big...
Yeah, as someone who's an author and a writer, pacing is one of the hardest parts of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to focus on too many details that don't matter, especially when you're running D&D.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to say. It's going to depend on your players and what they like, first off. But if you are, the way I tend to do my story arcs, I give myself 10 sessions to tell a piece of a story arc is usually how I handle it, give or take a couple sessions, depending on how fast players are going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I feel like that's a good sweet spot, because that's like 3 months of
Yeah.
sessions. Typically, if you're playing weekly, if you're playing monthly, God help you. I don't know how you pace monthly games.
I don't even remember what happened last time.
Exactly. I don't know how.
It's-
I've never done a monthly game. The furthest break I've had is bi-weekly.
My weekly still kind of
Mhm.
sucks too, because like as much as I like Joe's game, I don't. Our pacing feels off just because we are so in between there. Even though I don't know if the pacing actually is, sometimes it feels weird.
Joe is very, very bad at pacing. I will tell you that much. As someone who actually
Doesn't
can
surprise me.
keep track with things, Joe's really bad at pacing.
I think it's because
With
so
that
much
being
between...
said, he's
go ahead.
like, there's very much a thing with Joe. I'm just gonna say for our Sunday games, the biweekly. I stopped liking his game for his story because it's absolute garbage. I really like his game for his combats. He does really good combats.
I would agree. From what I've played with Joe, he does seem to make more fun combat.
I think that's a skill he's got, that he's very good at the like putting together interesting combats and stuff
Narrative
like that.
is really hard. Narrative is, in my opinion, the hardest part of D&D.
It's one of those things that's sort of like, I think it's because like we had a very good beginning of the story. I felt like it was pretty good us getting into Sigil, and then like, but when we got to Sigil, it was kind of like a drag on pacing to figure out what we're doing. And I'm sorry, as much as it's narratively, there's a level of narrative interesting to, we have a MacGuffin chase to gather the 4 elements, kind of like that. I feel like they all feel a little drug on.
You do gotta remember that was he used the actual book that D&D made for that thing, and that's why that felt so terrible.
That book is not good.
No, it's not.
I forgot to use that book.
That's why they put 2 creatures each with 2 cloud kills per day in a room the size of a postage stamp.
Is terrible.
So that's part of why the pacing drug on in that section, and I recognize that was the worst section.
Take a step back here. Pacing can be written badly too in some of the pre-made books, so don't rely on them for your own pacing.
It's unfortunately very common, especially in Paizo books. Pacing is often really bad.
The 1E ones, yeah.
The 1E ones especially.
They've gotten better at 2E, but even in 2E, you have to like almost recognize that it's one of those things is they default to a lot of dungeon type areas, which aren't always good for pacing, because sometimes just an encounter or a simple place is better than an entire dungeon.
1E falls into this issue, especially the APs, falls into this issue of we're giving you too much detail that realistically players either will never learn or don't need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. So to take a step back and actually talk about the pacing thing, if you're doing a module, you actually have to design the pacing yourself.
Yes.
The books can guide, like the way the book's written can help guide that, or it can make your job way more difficult if it's very poorly written.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, it's still up to you to guide the pacing, and that's what's hard about pacing is even if you have all of the tools in the story, you still have to figure out how to pace it.
And I think the challenge about pacing too is it can shift on the fly. And I think that's another problem about it. Like, when a challenge in a dungeon becomes like 2/3 of a session and you expected it to be like a 10th of a session or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I want to point out something nice that Hell's Rebels has done, which is the adventure I'm currently in, is we are dealing with a large dungeon because we're clearing out a place to find our new base. And what the book has done is, okay, players have progressed to this point in the dungeon and retreated to like heal or whatever. Give them this side quest to give them a break from the dungeon. Because in Pathfinder, you don't do dungeons in one shot. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to retreat and come back.
Yeah. I think that's also like that coming back to that, which is also involved in pacing to a degree, is like teaching your players like when they have like when they're supposed to.
It's a very, very 5th edition thing to one shot a dungeon.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's also because of the whole idea of the 5-room
Yeah,
dungeon or whatever,
exactly.
where it's all like they're supposed to be short and sweet. That's not how everyone likes to play though, and that
Exactly.
is a good thing for quick snappy things, especially for one shots and stuff. I think I honestly am not a big fan of the 5-room dungeon design. It's fine, but it can help teach you things. But
Like
literally, it's just
the what?
if you know story structure, you can make the 5-room dungeon because it's just the 5 story structure points.
Like something I want to bring up with in regards to pacing with Pathfinder, Crimson Throne, Book 5, the giant dungeon had nothing to break up that dungeon, and that dungeon lasted forever and took
Yep.
way too long.
It's like there's like this. If you boil it completely down to it, there's a concept where there could be pacing, but the way it is structured really did not help for that pacing, because if you're going to have it you have to face these certain things, it should be relatively linear, and it wasn't kind of linear, and it was kind of weird and out there.
Yeah, as far as that dungeon goes, the problem was I expected to run into an anchor a quarter of the way through the dungeon, and then go through or I should say of the way through the dungeon, then the next one 2/5 of the way, etc. But no, it was front load everything, do nothing for a while, and then front load all the enemies in the front, explore nothing for a while, and then hit the anchors at the end, and it was the worst.
and they put the final boss in an area you can easily just stumble into. Yeah.
Pathfinder has a real problem with doing that.
Yeah, so
it's
I think if you're doing a big dungeon that will take multiple sessions, it is obviously not always possible to do this. One of the things that can help with pacing is setting it not in the middle of nowhere, so players can go to a town to have a little bit of a break to do something else.
I think that's where they do it very well when we talk about Pathfinder in Carrying Crown in that case, because
exactly
the big dungeon that you do at the end of the first adventure, you can retreat to the town nearby and rest up if you need to. There might be some things you might have to still deal with. It's kind of that entire thing of the resetting traps or something like that, or if you use roaming monsters, some of them might still be around or something like that. But the big stuff you accomplish is done.
Of what we played of Carrying Crown, I think we got through 4 books. No, we got through 3 books and then a little bit of a 4th one.
The one
I don't think we got very far in book 4.
Yeah, the one I ran when I was running it, we were at the end of 3 and beginning to get into 4, and we didn't get very far into 4.
One thing everything I felt in that was pretty well paced, except the trial, which you could very easily fix by just changing time frame.
Yes. That one I tried to, but it was hard to judge.
Because instead of it's 3 days, you could be okay, we're gonna go from 3 days, it's a week now.
Yeah, a week might be better.
That gives you time for your players to actually long rest.
Yes, because I don't know with the challenges why they don't give an option of a long rest. I think that's the one thing is it's just it. There's a lot of things like that it's you can see where pacing is bad too. And you with your pacing as you're running a game can adjust it on the fly. You just have to be kind of I feel the best thing to say is after a session, get a feel for your own mind how smoothly things went. And again, I think it's always good, no matter what, to see talk with your players a little bit after a session, hey, how'd everything go? Is there anything you think I should change? Just chat with them for a minute.
Yeah.
Just get a feeling of how everybody had for the session. Because you again, that's the hey, I want to make sure I'm not making any mistakes, and you guys aren't getting either bored or pissed off at some stuff I'm doing. I can adjust some things, if need be. But that's also a great place to kind of pick up on that stuff about things with pacing. You can understand where you were going with it, and you can kind of see how your players are feeling about it, and you can understand if you do need to push some things forward or slow some things down, things like that.
So, I want to make some points about pacing. You basically want to balance two things: action and action and unaction. I don't know, like things that aren't action, or however you, or like the main thing and the like side things. Like so, basically, like again, I think part of Tantus's game. Part of the reason his game is actually, I would argue your game is actually having a moderate problem with pacing. I wouldn't say it's terrible, not as bad as Joe's game, you know, but I feel like it is. And I feel like part of that is because you have no downtime. You probably could have designed that in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like we're always going, and like anytime we rest or do anything, we have to consider the idea that like, okay, things are going to progress.
I'm not going to lie. It's been weird because I would have to force downtime, because I basically, if you guys wanted to take downtime, there's been plenty of times you just could have. But, like, I guess it's the overarching story that's existed since you left the Birchlings has pushed you on this kind of, like, we gotta go well, mentality.
I want to say, like, for example, like, I wanted to take a day to, like, do some crafting. And, like, there have been some points. There have been 2 points, I would argue, that have been kind of downtime-ish. One is traveling from the Wall City to the Mig City.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on names, Avanswell and...
Yeah, Birchlings to Avanswell.
Birchlings. Yeah, Birchlings to Avanswell. And then Avanswell to the Minotaur place. Those I would consider were... I wouldn't say they're downtime, but they were nice slowdowns. You know, but like in the city, there was this odd pressure when I felt like there really didn't need to be. Now,
yes,
because, yeah,
it was weird because I wasn't necessarily trying to give you that pressure, but you kept doing things that pushed you towards it too. And
to
like,
be fair,
it's like I was trying to play off of you with that. But I guess it's sort of like I could have done a better job of, like, you know, making sure it wasn't as big there.
Yeah. I mean, that is a thing where it's all like, I feel like Joe had a hand to play in that. He kept trying to go and get things done, which kept triggering things.
Like, the first thing that happened is you found some random schlub and told him there are horrific infiltrators that we ran from.
Yep. That's what I mean. Joe keeps doing things.
How was the guy going to... He reacted negatively. And it sort of like was the... It was sort of like, yeah, he's not going to be happy about it. I guess this is... I think it's just, we've been... Me versus you have been playing off of it. And I get that feeling like now, like, yeah, it has been very run.
I would argue that it was Joe who was kind of not slowing down for whatever reason, which did not help. I feel like you as a GM could have helped force it, though, to slow down.
Yes, maybe.
And that's kind of a thing. That's the thing.
I get that.
That's why I'm like, it's not entirely your fault. Players can also ruin pacing, as I would argue the game we had this last week was the players just having no idea what was going on.
It was so weird because you were either like... You were making certain checks, but not making other ones. And I had like a whole list of things you could... I was trying to give you so many hints, but you were also like failing certain checks and like, you know, succeeding on other checks. And it was like this weird mixture of things that like, it took you so long to get to the point. And I kept trying to like drop hints and stuff like that, you know, all this kind of stuff and building to like, here's this extra thing, you know, hey, you're learning about this thing. That maybe it's not directly what you need, but gives you hints to kind of figure out the answer, you know.
Oh, I'm going to be honest. I think we were all pretty tired, it seemed like, because none of us were connecting dots. I'm usually a lot better than that. It took us way too long. And looking back, it was so obvious. I think it was just a bunch of tired people trying to solve a puzzle.
Yeah. I don't feel, again, like it was completely slow when it comes to the pacing. And I think this is the kind of thing that I kind of say, like, here is, this is the kind of challenge that I think pacing has. Because... I wasn't sure how the pacing was going in all of Avanswell. Because I could not tell if it was being too slow or too fast for all of you. Because it's sort of like, especially like, you know, if I would pull off of Joe, he wants to go fast. So I'm like, oh, I'm going too slow. But then there's sort of like, well, we have to do these other things. But I'm going too fast. Yeah. And I think it's like kind of like, that's kind of
Yep.
hard because it's kind of that's like mixed signals to me, and then it's sort of like
and that's where so that's hard because like pacing, you also have to worry about players when pacing and control your players a little bit and reel back the ones who want to go and push forward the ones who want to hold everything back.
It's finding that sweet spot is not easy, and finding that balance that makes it again, you're not dragging the story but you're not speeding along. And certainly I would tell you,
and I do want to clarify, it wasn't like horrible pacing.
No,
like that's the thing, the pacing it's just I'm nitpicking here.
I'm gonna go over to this this game that I'm gonna pull out of the grave because I put it there. This game called Adventure or the Rat Children of Wrath, and just point to this entire sections that are like there's some points here that like I'm like, what's pacing? And I'm just gonna drop it back.
I was just like I wasn't even in that game. I'm gonna be real. There were 2 other people leading that game, and I was just playing Final Fantasy. I was just playing Final Fantasy.
You were playing Final Fantasy and occasionally showed up as basically an NPC to reel in the 2 other people.
Exactly. And I was just fishing in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But like that was an example of just pacing gone awry, and
that's all because of 2 players.
Also, I allowed it a lot. I could have done so much more.
Should have told them not to go to college.
Man, I should have done anything with college. College should have been a one session visit, and we're done. But yeah, it kind of shows that you can get off track with pacing very horribly, and sometimes that kind of stepping back is very good to kind of like take an assessment, take an idea, kind of see where things are.
And for like last Wednesday, I could think of something you could have done to help us along a little bit better, which would have been like, okay, here's like you guys, here's what you guys have so far, and then like have drawn on the map like everything that we've found, and then we might have been like, and we're like, oh right, there's that thing over there that we completely ignored.
I'm like, Joe's like, I'm gonna light a torch and put it down here. I'm like, there does seem to be some kind of strange, air current in here. He's like, oh, okay. So just ignored it. I'm like, what?
Well, to be fair, I thought it was part of the I think he probably was on the same pace that I was. That was part of the mechanism that lowered into the ground.
Oh, I get you. Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. But as far as pacing goes, it can be hard, especially when you don't want to especially when you have something like a puzzle. Puzzles are, I'm gonna be honest, the murder of pacing. There's no way to do it right.
Yeah.
Because either your players will solve it in a second, or they'll take 10 times longer than you thought they would.
I think the thing about I can say about puzzles is you are probably not necessarily going to include them in your pacing. You're going to try to pace them well, but sort of again, be prepared to throw some bones to your players if they're having trouble, or providing other information or doing some things. Again, it could be like me taking Talos, who's sitting next to things, and rolling I think I rolled 6 or 7 perception checks, and I didn't roll above a 7.
Yep.
I was perception. I was
he noticed something that he didn't tell you. Yeah.
Close to just giving that answer out, but you guys were still not stumped. That's why I didn't. You know?
We were still making progress. It's just we were. It's kind of like we saw in Momo. Basically, this thing we solved basically how the puzzle worked and what the answer was, but we completely missed the box with the key.
Nice.
So it's all one of the pieces was missing, and there was a box there, and we looked right at the box, and we're like, this is interesting, and then forgot about it.
Yeah. So you went off and oh, here's the answer to what we're trying to solve. How do we put it in?
No, yeah, there seems to be something missing. How do we do? And then finally,
it was this weird hilarity.
The last time I did a puzzle in D&D, one of the players was playing a very strong boy, and the puzzle was to open a door. So he got just a little bit fed up and bored, and he just ripped the door off the hinges and walked through.
Look, I'm not gonna lie.
I re-
If you can make that check, I probably would.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, you rolled a 30 athletics. You're fine.
Yeah.
Door's gone.
It's like, hey,
Yep.
you
You're
you
good.
yeah.
you rolled a check. Congratulations.
But honestly, as far as the rest of the session went, I thought the pacing was fine. You know, like that's kind of the thing. Like it was kind of nice. Kind of, I feel like you maybe could have slowed down a tiny bit and had a little bit more description with the journey up the mountain. However, with how bad the pacing was of the previous thing, I can understand you wanting to get through that part a little bit faster. So it's kind of like this. Yeah.
With where we were, because I'm still again running a show. I was like, I wanted you to at very least reach the mythical city by the end of the session. So
and shows are a lot harder. You have to pay a lot more attention to pacing for like a show.
Yeah. Take a step back. When I talk about things a lot, I'm also balancing out running this on Twitch, and recording it for YouTube.
Yep.
I have an extra level of pacing. You at home might not have that problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like, for most people, that's why I'm like, pacing, it kind of depends. As long as it's not atrocious, it's usually fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. That's why it's like, it's obviously bad in Joe's game, because Joe is really bad at pacing. He's really bad at the story aspect. But it's a very basic, generic story with a lot of fun combats in between.
Yeah, I don't think overall I would call Joe's story bad. I think it's just simple and straightforward. So there's no like major turns or twists or anything. It's a very
we know exactly what's happening. We know exactly how to do it. It's just us getting from point A to point B to gather the MacGuffins and get the thing together. Yeah.
Which again isn't necessarily bad, but again, it's an aspect that when we talk about with like the pacing and stuff, it drags other things down. It's like when
and I feel like if Joe had a better story to tell, he might be able to do it a little bit better. Who knows?
Again, I think it's like he had a good idea to begin with, but he then hybridized it with the story in the book, and I think that's where things went off the rails a lot.
He wanted to get us like through a few levels because he wanted us to have higher levels when going about the plains because he felt it would be too dangerous. But
yeah,
I remember him saying that. But yeah. So for some tips for dungeons and stuff, I think Momo made a very good point. You really want to bring in like other things to do or allow them to leave and do other things.
Yeah.
As far as like more of a narrative story thing goes, that you have to pay a little bit more attention. I would argue the like. So in writing, there is this idea of like. There's basically, from what I've read, I've tried to learn about stuff like this. There's basically oh gosh, what are they called? There's two types of scenes. There's like the scenes where things happen and the things where they reflect on things. You need to have both. Most of them should be like the action scenes, but then you need those reflection scenes as well. So it's important to mix that in. Now, there's no actual set amount of each because it really depends on the story you're telling, on through characters or what your players want, or readers if you're doing book stuff. But you do need those times where the players can sit back and reflect, or do other things. Focus on their characters rather than the plot. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. You need opportunities to kind of like, to a degree, have breaks in the pacing of the story that allows your pacing to, have ups and downs. Because again, you don't really want that just like the pacing's the same all the time, because when you're telling the story through action or through, moments with, characters or stuff like that, it's kind of like with a movie. There are times where things go very fast and are very actiony, and there are times where the story is being told and things are a little slower. It's the pacing's not one straight line. It's a thing that goes up and down, and if you're trying to manage. Again, that's another reason why it's a challenge. You're not managing a line. You're managing a wave.
Yep. Yeah. And depending on the oscillation, or like waves can change to do different things. So
yeah,
it's it's yeah. So it's not easy, but it is something you have to pay attention to. But it's also not the end of the world, as long as you're not doing it terrible. Like that's the thing. It's kind of one of those things with a very wide margin of it.
Yes.
It's a lot smaller if you have something like a podcast or a stream, but it's still not horrible.
Yeah. You know, it's there are things that make it easier and harder to kind of judge. But again, as I said, you can usually get a sense of how you're doing after a session, you know, and figure out, even if you're not going to do it perfectly, get an idea like, oh, I should try to adjust it a bit, and then try to figure that little adjustments out. And, you know, that, again, it harkens back to the same thing. If I'm running a dungeon and, you know, it's a massive area and there's one main thing here, yeah, putting something in there, putting, you know, oh, hey, here's a, you know, mini boss, or here you've just learned of something horrible they did that you can also get involved in, or maybe someone else, when they asked you to go here, asked you also look for something, you know, the little things like that, that, like, you know, make other goals, make other little things to do that interacts with this larger area that you're exploring. And, you know, this is just kind of assuming, you know, probably somewhere between that, I'd say like 5 to 15 room dungeon, maybe 20 dungeon at the most. As soon as you get above 20 rooms, you're really getting into mega dungeon territory, which we've done videos since separately, and that's an entirely different beast, because then it's the story's more
at that
the
point.
dungeon.
Yeah, at that point the story is about the location, and the location itself is more just an avenue to tell a story.
Yeah.
It just requires a lot more maps.
Yes. So, okay. I think I kind of hit on everything I wanted to say about this, because again, I thought this was because I can rename this pacing for adventurers. We can call this. I'll rename it when I put it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
I didn't think of the word
ultimately,
pacing. Leave that to me, thank you.
No, it's very clear that you meant pacing, but didn't know what to call it, which is totally fair. How to speed up or slow down adventure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's called pacing.
The word wasn't coming into my brain.
No, it happens.
Yeah. Hey, shall we move on to our weekend gaming, unless anybody else has anything to add?
Sure.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're having Joe's game this week, so we didn't do anything on Sunday. Me and Worm did. Unless you did something extra, Worm. I didn't.
No.
So I think I had stuff when it... Oh. I did try out a tabletop sim game. I can't remember the name of it. That's the best thing I did. It was fine. We never finished it, though. I'll just say that. But it was basically, you know, when playing at 2 a.m, doesn't end well for like making choices and getting a little frustrated with each other. We'll put it that
also,
way.
wasn't that super? Was it that super complicated COG game?
Semi-complicated COG game. It was a weird COG-based game.
I popped in to say hi, and they were just all like, starting a game, and I'm like, it's 9 o'clock here, meaning it's like midnight there.
It was way too late, and the rules were way too much. I literally said choose a simple game, and Joe's like, I want to play this one, and I'm like, fine, whatever. And I'm like, I did not want to listen to the rules, because it was like, he was reading them for quite a while, and I'm like, I just want to play this if we're going to do it. And then, like, I had
Literally,
later
I
on
popped
go
in
in
to say
and
hi.
start going into the rules, and it was like, okay, there's a lot of things that we didn't understand about these rules. Great. I really should have read through them. I really should have, but I didn't want to. Anyway, it was fine. I might try it again. Maybe not. I don't know.
Honestly, kind of just from the 5 minutes of rules I was listening to, it kind of sounded neat. Would be.
Yeah. But I know I had a game on Wednesday. Did either of you have anything before Wednesday?
I had my Monday game, which I run. They finished up some dungeon stuff. They explored a weird dream realm. They opened a portal to and found some fun clues to the elven artifact they're looking for, which has turned out to be not an elven artifact, but a drow artifact.
Ooh.
So they're gonna go hunt for that. They left the dungeon, got the aid of the dwarfs to go and fight the undead, and then returned to the city to find that a diplomat from the undead had arrived to discuss their surrender.
All right.
Because it turns out the reason that they discovered the reason the undead army, which is led by mostly vampires, is doing all this is because, hey, I'm gonna be real. These vampires, they've lived a long time. They don't dabble in mortal affairs often. For thousands of years, they have watched mortals nearly destroy the planet dozens of times, and they're a little bit sick of it.
So basically, there's a lot of all the like the
They've
really
seen Torvalia explode too many times. And you're like, all right, you don't get to be in control anymore.
I gotta be honest. I kind of feel like I'd be on their side. that planet gets nuked so many times in super weird ways. Just like for my few times adventuring there.
Yeah, so yeah, they're gonna go and fight an undead army probably for the next 3 weeks, because it's going to be a series of 12 back-to-back combats.
Fun.
In 3 dungeons. And then that'll be the end of that story arc, and then I'm gonna give them like a month of downtime.
Cool. Anybody do anything Tuesday then?
Tuesday we had Hell's Rebels, the game still is running, where we took a little break from the dungeon to do a murder investigation, where we had to find someone who is killing members of the church that my character belongs to. And I quote, "This is what the book said when we did speak with Dead to get information from the corpse. The murder was a man of Varisian descent wearing workers' clothing who smelt," and I quote, "like stale cheese and yarn."
Interesting.
That's a description. That first bit could be anyone in the Varisian region.
Yeah.
So we did some investigating. We found out where he lived. We went to his apartment, found evidence. We found out he is a super smart guy who picked up a possessed weapon. The weapon once belonged to a serial killer who, upon execution, forced his soul into the sword.
Wonderful.
Except which would have been great for Cell, because the guy is supposed to be invisible when he comes in the room, so he can get his sword and do a sneak attack. All of us rolled well below what he rolled on his stealth, except for Lightning's elk, which spotted him.
With the elk spotted him?
Oh, the deer.
With the elk.
Elk.
So he did not get a surprise round. And he got bullied because he didn't have his weapon. He got knocked to the ground by my dog, blinded, crit multiple times. Dude had a real bad time. And then we took him alive because I crit on a non-lethal strike.
The fact that it was the goddamn elk.
The elk rolled like a 30 perception to spot this dude.
That's
so we're left with a choice of, we were obviously going to turn the guy in. We're left with the choice of doing 1, 2, 3. We could do it secretly and kind of maintain our secrecy of our rebellion, or we can publicly say, hey, we did what the Guard and the new government failed to do, and humiliate the fascist leader of the city.
Interesting.
That's the choice we're given.
That's a tough one there. Man. Yeah, because there's good and bad on both of those. Keeping secret, but also maybe like drumming up support from the locals. Oh man.
Exactly.
Jeez. Well, good luck on that one then. That's a choice.
Yeah. We gotta figure that one out. We don't have a session this week because Cell has stuff to do. So we got like a week to figure that out.
Okay.
That was a session.
Cool. Wednesday we did have Fall of Abenswell, and I think to summarize, puzzle, climbed a mountain.
It's typical D&D.
Yeah.
Failed at a puzzle, then climbed a mountain.
Yeah.
They shouldn't fail climbing the mountain.
Yeah.
Well, You say that, but my character literally almost died from the cold.
Yeah,
Because
because
your
it's-
character's a little guy.
basically, like, the entire idea is there was basically hidden temple that they found, like, the ruins of, that was probably mostly buried underground. They found a portal that leaked, sent them to a little mountain retreat kind of area, which then was linked to basically a ancient magical floating city that was, like, in the world. But basically, the mountain they went to was effectively this planet's Mount Everest, and they were up towards the top of it. So it was kind of awful to be there, you know. And
Again, as I said this in the chat, because I didn't want to, like, bog down the game, I was entirely the whole time just thinking High Hrothgar.
Yeah, watch out that frost roll.
yeah,
10,000 steps. I was just all like, that's what I was picturing every
honestly,
time.
that's not necessarily a bad thing to think about with that one, you know. That's the thing I can
It
say
all
about
goes back to Skyrim.
it kind of does there. But yeah, no, it was kind of a fascinating thing that none of you had any ways to protect against the cold, and the one that did was
Yeah, we didn't expect to.
Yeah, you didn't expect to. And then the one guy that was, like, flash frozen there, you got his stuff. Joe did. So at least one of you was warm.
Joe stole the warm clothes from the guy who was frozen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you know that guy
and I
doesn't
really
need it anymore.
Yeah.
And I really should have, just shoved myself inside of Joe's Umbran's clothing, but I wanted to tough it out.
You did want to
And then I
tough it
almost
out.
died.
And you almost died. No, they
I crit failed. I failed, and then crit failed the rolls to avoid against the severe weather.
Yep.
Took a bunch of damage.
Yeah, it was look, you know, it was an interesting little bit of the adventure there. That's what I can say. Yep. Honestly, I did like that little story there, even though, like, you know, I think Worm froze. You froze for a second, Worm.
What? No, am I?
For just a second, you were frozen up there.
Well, I think I was just being oddly still.
Okay. It is going a your video has gone a little bit. For whatever reason, Discord hates you here. I don't know.
Yeah, we need to take us time and figure that out, because it's literally only like for my end, it's fine. I have no idea why it gets so choppy on your end.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to take some time to look into it. But anyway, so yeah, I think it was still a relatively good session. You know.
Yeah.
Again,
no. Overall, it was good. Yeah.
Again, it's that thing of getting stuck on the puzzle did not feel like you were, like, not doing anything related to it at very least, and I think that was the good part.
We were making the nice thing is, at least on the puzzle, we were making progress the whole time. It was just, like I said, we solved it in reverse because we missed the very obvious first thing we were supposed to find.
Yeah, which just made it take a lot longer. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So, did anybody do anything on Thursday or Friday?
I only played Arc Raiders and Stellaris those days.
I could get back into Stellaris one of these days. Really do. Worm, you had your game today then?
Yes. So we were set up to investigate basically a train robbery.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna be honest, like, okay. So, as someone who is a GM, I think I understood kind of the idea a lot better than what everyone else was going for, because everyone was trying to basically solve the whole thing from the station when the train robberies were happening along the way towards the end of the line that we were going down. And I'm just like, there's some things we can find out here, but why are we trying to solve it here? Like, we're gonna need to get information. There's also a town stop in the middle that the train has to stop at. And I'm like, we're gonna find more information there. It's all like, we're like, oh, maybe it's this. Maybe, was there any signs of underdigging? Was there any signs of a collapse? Was there any signs? It's all like, they said they sent inspectors down. We don't need to ask for every scenario.
That's
Now,
silly.
with that said, yeah. With that said, we got to the town. We found out some more information when we got to the middle town. Like, there was a foreman who kept seeing a woman in a red dress and then suddenly died. At a train foreman at the station, which is suspicious. There were a few other nuggets. Most of the rumors were absolute nonsense. Like, some people believed it was a wizard with a sphere of annihilation on the tracks.
I feel like that would be the last thing I'd expect, because that feels like the most unlikely.
Well, those are those are the rumors around town. And there's another person who thought it was ghosts. There's another person who thought the woman in the red dress was an ill omen that would predict your death. There's some other people who thought it was a dragon. There's some other people who thought, well, actually no, no one thought it was the dragon. We asked about the dragon because we saw a woman in a red dress and we're like, maybe it's a shapeshifter. And everyone's like, no, it's not the dragon. It's up in the mountains. So like, but there is a dragon. And then the last thing we heard about were there's like drow fiends, like some half drow, half fiend creatures called night flyers, who were like stealing sheep and stuff. And we're like, well, there are drow, and this is a dwarven thing. So yeah, we spent a while actually investigating when we went to the town. And then the reason we went 40 minutes over is because the GM's like, look, I need to know what you guys are gonna do when we get to the actual like ambush point. So we need to get to that point. And after even saying that, the players still wanted to go like, oh, maybe we should go to that dwarf's house and see if we can do like a time thing to like see like what happened in the past to see if we can. I'm like, we're clearly like, we actually have a lot of information now. And my personal theory is that it's drow working with the dragon. And I'm kind of sad I didn't think of this because it was very obvious when we got to the ambush point. Our train veered off to the side into a wall, which we then realized were illusions. So they had a diversion track which they were covering up with illusions.
Interesting.
So that's how they were stealing trains. But because the whole train was disappearing. That was the thing about the heists. It wasn't just gold stolen randomly. It was the whole train. So anyway, that's where we ended.
Interesting.
I think he wanted to make sure we weren't going to like send someone down slowly and like walk along the train, because like that's things that we suggested as possibilities, like slowing down the train to a crawl and walking alongside it to try and see what's going on. And it's all like there are some issues with that. I'm just like, part of me is just like, I feel like it's gonna be hard to do anything that's not, us just running into it.
Yeah.
Like there were ways, but it would have been hard. Like I can already tell, like just based on the thing, like the one thing none of us even suggested or thought of was illusions covering up the thing that the inspectors never saw. I think we kind of just assumed that they might have found it, but man, there's so much of players just like totally just that first part. Basically, our entire first half of the session was just them being like trying to solve it before we got anywhere near the thing.
Yep. Sounds about correct.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess we can leave things there. That seems like a good place to do it. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. It was another exciting episode. We got some good talk things, some interesting news. Thank you once again to Momo and Worm for popping in and joining me. I guess unless you have anything to shout out, I'll turn over to Worm to do his shout outs. So I'll turn it over to you, Worm.
Yeah, I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter and Blue Sky, and DiamondWyrm9234 on YouTube. My next stream should be tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. PDT. Yeah.
Cool. Hi. Thanks for coming. I'm back on Tuesday. That's my next stream. You can always check out any of my tabletop stuff over the week. That comes out all the time over on the YouTube side of thing. But if you just want to kind of join, hang out, that'll be some more gaming-related stuff then. I've got a whole list of tabletop topics. I'll be doing some recordings and uploads for next week. Make sure to join Fall Bab and Small next Wednesday at 8. This show should be on schedule for next Saturday at 6. I've got some things going on over the weekend, but I should still be good to go or Saturday 8, I'm sorry. I said 6 there for a second, because that's the old time. The old time came into my brain there, but I should still be good to show up normal. I'll be busy enough to interrupt it at least this week. No problems with that. Yeah. Hey, everybody, check out all the links and stuff, and make sure again, hey, if you're over on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your weekend, and until the next time, I can say farewell and goodbye.